playing as Ottoman versus French here. I opening with military school, so I put 5 villagers, onto the stone mine. You just far gather the stone with 5 villas, and then you have exactly enough stone to build your military school in age 1. So I go ahead and do that, and I go ahead and pop 3 villas back onto wood so that I can. You have to start gathering for like a house. When you build a house, you still have 50 wood, so you build a house, and then you're gonna need to gather wood to build a mining camp. So, yeah, just pretty standard Ottoman opening here. And Soldier is playing as French on Arabia, and I think this is a pretty interesting matchup. Both of these civs actually feel like a little bit lower tier civs. Ottoman and French, yeah, they're not really the best civs. So it's kind of interesting that we're both playing kind of somewhat weaker civs in game 1. But there's a lot of civ bans with this draft, right? So like you don't have a ton of civs available. In French, on Arabia, French is always pretty good. Ottoman's decent civ too. So this is a pretty interesting matchup. I feel like these civs are pretty evenly matched. Yeah, I guess kind of hard to say which one is favored, but I would maybe rather be French here, but it's kind of hard to say. Alright, so anyways, yep, just scouting here, and I got my military school, so it's gonna, slowly train that spearman. And Soldier is gathered exactly enough gold to age up, so that's good. You can always, look on the gold mine and gather exactly 3,900, so he's got the exact amount of gold age, and now he's gonna start aging, try to age up really quick. So his build is very clean, in the fact that he's doing exactly what he wants to do. But sometimes French players will still gather 100 gold so that they can train one night as soon as they hit age 2. It depends what you're going for. Usually getting one night out is actually really good. I've had times where I, don't gather for the one night, but a lot of times it does feel really good just to be able to train one night. So, yeah, he's obviously not going for that here. And now I start aging myself with 5 villas on the Twin Madret, however you say that. And leaving a couple villagers on gold here so I can start getting some eco upgrades, shortly after age 2. And just trying to scout with the spearman here. So if we look at Soldier's build, he's going for a fast archer range, which I think this is pretty good. Honestly, I think he should have just went for the knights, because sometimes you get in this scenario here where if the Ottoman opens with the spearman military school, you can actually just kill the spearman with knights, because you can get a scenario where you have like one knight out and you're still fighting versus an age 1 spearman. Spearman's not upgraded, so in that scenario you could just kill the spearman with the knight, and then you could always heal a French knight. So I actually don't really like Soldier opening with an archer range. It's not that bad of an idea, but like he could just be, I don't know, he could just pop out one knight, kill the spearman, or like raid my gold villagers with the knight. Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, archer range is okay, but, so yeah, there he goes, he's aged up. Now he's going to drop a very quick archer range, and it looks like his plan's going to go, he's trying to do a fast second TC, so I think he's just training like 1 or 2 archers to push back the spearman. But, yeah, it's tough. I think maybe just the knight would have been better, because then you don't have to use 150 wood on an archer range. You could just train the one knight, maybe kill the spearman, and harass and be annoying with it. Alright, so now I'm up to age 2. I go for a very quick wheelbarrow. Get wheelbarrow right away. I got all my sheep that I gotta pull in. So yeah, I just have 2 spearmen. Like, he really could have just killed these spearmen with like the knight, so. And I think I see the archer range, so I actually end up pulling back with my spearmen. I don't want them to get killed. So yeah, pretty clean there. This is nice. He's doing only like a single archer, which is nice, because some players would maybe, overmake archers, but you only need 1 archer, right, to push them back. So that part's really good. And now he's putting a bunch of villagers onto stone, which is good. Maybe a little bit excessive, but yeah, it's a lot of villas on stone. But he just wants to get a TC up as soon as possible, so yeah, it makes sense. And meanwhile, I'm just going eco upgrades behind this, and I actually do see that he's going for the second TC, so I'm like, you know what, let me just try to throw down a stable really quick, and I can maybe deny the TC from getting built. So I build a stable with like 4 villas, but if I wasn't going to eco upgrades, I probably could have had enough units to maybe denied or have it not placed in the best spot, but it's fine. I think it's better for me to probably do eco upgrades. Yeah, I have wheelbarrow, about to be researched, and I already have dope broad axe, so that's quite nice. Switch my military school to spot heat training, and Yeah, I mean, Soldier's build, he's pretty clean, right? He's doing exactly what he wants. He's getting this really quick second TC builds. Maybe a little bit too many villas over there, but yeah, I mean, he only had a single archer, so and one horse. One horseman buying time is actually pretty good here, but I probably wasn't going to be able to do a whole lot, so wasn't really that relevant. He's got so many villas, so he just like punch with his villas and kill my spearmen. So yeah, I see this. He's got the single archer, just going to push me back. Nothing I can really do, so I have to back up. So yeah, I mean, I think Soldier's looking pretty good here. You know, he's on 2 TC. He's French. Yeah, I don't know, pretty even game. I think I would probably take Soldier's position over mine, but you know, it's hard to say, right? I got a couple eco upgrades. I'm now dropping a blacksmith, and now I'm starting to gather a stone for a second military school. So. Alright, drop that second military school as soon as possible, you know, within the influence of the blacksmith, of course, and then an archer range. So now my plan is, I see that he's on 2 TCs, so now my plan is to just like play feudal forever, just do like an all-in feudal push. It was basically my plan here when I saw a second TC. Which, yeah, Ottoman, they do have a very strong feudal push, so yeah, if someone goes 2 TC, that's a bit greedy. You know, sometimes players can hold it, but it is a TC that's way in the back, and Soldier has this back hunt, which is actually really nice for him. So I actually kind of really like Soldier's position. I think he makes some mistakes, like building. I don't like the barracks here. I think he could have just went 2 TCs and gone like Archer Knights, and stay at H2 like forever should be his plan, basically, and just hold, you know, not die to the Ottoman pressure, because he's now on 2 town centers, and he's going to start outscaling the Ottoman. So he just needs to kind of not take damage from the Ottoman player here. And you could maybe mix in a barracks. I don't like him mixing in a barracks this early. I'm not a fan of, but yeah. And I go ahead and place some walls down here, just avoid getting, you know, raided by some French knights. Just a tiny wall segment kind of closes that section off, which is nice. He built a build a wall here so that knights can't charge your wood line. I could build a wall here. I think I build a wall here soon. Yep, there we go. So yeah, these walls are really nice, where like it doesn't cost a lot of resources at all to do this. Very little building time, but it completely like prevents knights from like diving the wood line. It's just so good. Now units would have to go within TC range, so these are very good walls. Alright, now I'm also getting horticulture, so I'm going quite greedy with these eco upgrades, and then working on some blacksmith upgrades, and just starting to mass up my army a bit. Meanwhile, if we look at Soldier, he's starting to work on some eco upgrades himself, getting wheelbarrow, double broadaxe, which is good. Getting the forestry, which is a little bit weird, but it's cheap, so it's kind of like whatever, I guess. Oh, he's gathering wood here, which is a little odd. That's kind of a lot of walking time. That's the downside of, I don't know, building a TC. Yeah, he's relocating them, which is nice, I think. He does have the berries here, which is probably good for him to get on at some point. So, yeah, I mean, if we look at the eco population, he's ahead in economy by a pretty significant amount. This doesn't count the military schools, though, so that's, you know, you gotta kind of take those into account for Ottoman. But I am ahead in military, so it's relatively even at the moment. I try to do a little bit of raiding here, just looking around. He builds a wall here. This is a very nice wall, too. Just, you know, closes off that part of the map. And he's just pushing my Spahis back. Meanwhile, he's trying to raid. He's got just a scout and a horseman. He probably could be running around a little bit more actively with a knight, but not the biggest deal. This is actually a really nice wall here, too. Yeah, and he's going on bears, which is good. Yo, he does still have some sheep underneath his TC, which I think that's a little bit of a mistake that he's not gathering from them right now, or he should at least remember these sheep, because that's quite a bit of food there. Oh, he's got all these idols. Sometimes they don't show up as idle, like they finish gathering from like hunt, and then they don't show up as idle, but there he goes. He's on top of it pretty quickly. And actually puts a wall here too, which is quite... This one's, it's a little excessive, but it's pretty good, I guess. So yeah, now I'm actually upgrading siege engineering, and I'm basically going to try to do a ram push here at some point. I am like now double military pop. If we look at Soldier, he's starting to float a decent amount of resources. And he has 2 barracks, which I think is a really big mistake. You shouldn't have 2 barracks at this point. Yeah, especially versus Ottoman. I actually really dislike that. Getting the villager upgrade, which I think is actually quite good. Smart, because just if he's going to get attacked, that's a good time to get it. He does still have all these sheep underneath his TC, which is odd to see him not going for. But this is where it starts getting really weird. If you look at his macro all of a sudden is very out of whack. He's got like almost 800 gold, which is not good. He's floating a ton of gold that you just not really going to be able to use. He doesn't have blacksmith upgrades yet, but he really should take these villas off gold and put them on the sheep here. I wonder if is this TC rallied on? No. But yeah, this is a big gold float, which is not good, especially if you're about to get timing pushed. So I end up seeing these walls going up. A little bit of raiding going on here. I pop all my villas inside TC though, so he's basically forced back up. But yeah, he's starting to float a lot of gold. That's a really big mistake. He ends up building a market here, maybe because he's floating. It's never ideal to have to build a market, really. And yeah, I think at this point he tries to maybe start macroing for H3, which is not the move. Like, he's up a lot of villas, right? He's up 19 villas. It's huge eco lead. He needs to just keep making units stage 2 and just do not take a bunch of damage. Don't die to this H2. You know, don't die to Ottoman 1 TC push. Right? Like, French is scaling quite good. Soldier really, in my opinion, needs to just commit to H2. Get a ton of knights out, a ton of archers. And here we go. Now I start building the rams. Oh, he doesn't see this. He barely, I guess, doesn't see this. Well, not barely, but, you know, he just, yeah, doesn't see it. But now, I think Soldier actually bought a lot of food with gold, which is not ideal. Now he's actually dropping 2 towers. So, yeah, now he's trying to go up to H3, but it's just not the move. I guess he's building these towers to try to turtle until he gets H3. He left a lot of food and sheep underneath the TC, which was a big mistake. Like, that could have been, you know, improved his macro. But yeah, you have a 20 villager lead. You're 2 TC French versus 1 TC Ottoman. If the auto player is staying 1 TC, the French player just stay H2. You just stay H2 forever, basically, and just don't take a ton of damage to the Ottoman player, and you're gonna outscale him. You could get a ton of knights. You could do knight raids. But this is the worst thing Soldier could do, I think. He's being, Soldier was greedy by building a second TC, which is fine. But now he's being greedy a second time, and he's trying to build a second TC and go Castle Age versus a 1 TC all-in, which is just not good, not smart. And here we go. Now my army's like double the size of his. I'm starting to push. He still doesn't have enough res to age. Like, now he's in an awkward spot where it's like, oh my god, there's a huge army coming. I almost have enough resources to go castle, but I don't. Like, do I make units and stay feudal, or do I go castle? And yeah, he's just in a really bad spot here. So now he ends up going castle. He's got like 2 barracks, which is odd. Like, if he gets castle, he can maybe get man arms out, but he's got a 21 vil lead. He really should just be riding his eco advantage. And yeah, I think this was the absolute worst thing he could do. I think he was actually in a really good spot. If he just committed to H2, like, I think he would have been really good. And then you're seeing me doing a really good job sieging, like, not wasting sieging time. Like, this TC is going to die, right? Let me just move on to the next thing and siege as quick as possible, basically. I could just let the single ram hit it one more time, boom, it's on fire. Now I could even just leave that TC, let it burn. And this is huge. Like, if I can kill the barracks, if he gets man arm out, then maybe he could hold. But if I kill barracks before he's like castle, like, you know. And that, yeah, now just looking at the game, you know, he's got a really good eco lead, but he's just playing too greedy, trying to go castle age with a second TC. And I just have a really good timing push. My macro's very clean here, floating like almost 0 res. And I just have a really strong time push. I see his castle, so I'm like, okay, let me just dive his entire base. I like dive his eco. Now he's forced to idle like 40 vills. And the game is just actually over here, basically, as you see. Like, he can't even get units out. So, yeah, this was quite bad. Unfortunate by Soldier. He just misread the game. He could have been using his scout more actively and maybe saw my army. he's like trying to maybe do a desperate counter push, but I mean my army's just massive and he just can't get anything out. So yeah, fast forward a bit here. And I'm just doing a very good job like sieging stuff immediately. He, you know, is getting housed. Basically, he's not able to train anything. He builds a siege workshop, so I realized, let me target that. That's priority. Make sure you can't get a Ming and L out. And yeah, I mean, all of his villas were running around idle, and yeah, he just taps out. So, pretty straightforward game. It was like close early on, but he made the incorrect decision, right? This game just completely came down to like decision making. I mean, two things. He could have been a little more active with the scout. Maybe he would have saw the Rams coming and the all-in push, and then he might have canceled the H3 and tried to commit to feudal. But the main thing is he just went too greedy multiple times. Like, okay, he was on 2 taunt centers. I was on 1 TC. He was going to already outscale me and be in the better situation as the game progresses, as long as he doesn't take a ton of damage. But instead of staying feudal for a super long time, he ended up going Castle Age. So now, not only does he have 1 TC more than me and 20 more villas than me, but he's also trying to afford Castle Age. And I'm 1 TC all-inning. So he just went too greedy, didn't like scout enough, and he should have just known, like, okay, if he's 2 TCs, the opponent's 1 TC, let me just make a ton of archers, a ton of knights, and just stay feudal forever. Get a little bit of rating damage, eco damage, and just ride my villager advantage to victory. But yep, just a little maybe inexperienced showing of soldier there, not knowing, you know, the correct strategy. And yeah, I ended up taking that game pretty easily, basically before any fighting happened, and quite decisively. So, yeah, that's it for this game 1.